welcome to our 2011 Volunteer Recognition event.
The lifeblood of the Red Cross, it's all about volunteers. Our disaster response efforts that are down the street, across the country, and around the globe are really delivered by you. Our preparedness and life-saving skills training, our family tracing, services to armed forces, and most of all, those 2 o'clock in the morning disasters that happen to people. The reason we can do that is because you all bring your heart. So thank you for doing that every day.
The Emerging Leader Award recognizes an exceptional volunteer who has served for no more than 18 months and has made an outstanding contribution to a project or activity. It's a great honor for me to present this award to Mike Lewis. As many of you know, Mike Lewis has been with us for just a little over a year. But what a year! Our emergency services department needs to be prepared and ready to assist our neighbors in need at a moment's notice. Mike helps make all this possible. During the hurricane, Mike was, as his peers said, the cornerstone of the logistics team. Mike tackles any challenge with a smile. He is efficient, cool-tempered, and rallies everyone behind him. Mike brings a level of professionalism to any disaster scene and recognizes quickly what needs to be done. And now I'd like to introduce Tom Kane. Tom is our account manager of Blood Donor Services, and he will be presenting the Blood Services Award. Tom?
When you enter 106 North Broadway, you can be sure you'll see Robert Mass at a desk on a phone. He's tireless in his support. He'll reach out to the blood donors, he'll engage them, he'll encourage them to support our drives. He's a tremendous ambassador for the Red Cross and makes every donor know how valuable his or her contributions are.
During her 2 years of volunteer work with the American Red Cross, Shanice has been an active volunteer in community outreach events and blood drives. Her friendly smile brings people to the table at any community outreach event. She then passionately explains the benefits of emergency disaster preparedness or getting trained in life-saving skills.
It is a great pleasure to give you the recognition for the Youth Services Award. Now I would like to turn over the microphone to Andrew Sindel.
I am here to present the first of 2 Support Service Awards. Let me start with Tamara Jackson. And I knew she would be having the best, so we got her up there, so that's good. Tamara has the unique quality that she truly is her very own human resources department. And I'm not kidding. A passionate recruiter for DAT volunteers, she's determined to build our volunteer base for now and for the future. She makes herself available day and night to interview or talk to a potential volunteer. She's often the first person a prospective volunteer may meet at the chapter. Seldom people have the ability to have a positive influence on all they come across as Tamara does. I know she shies away from being recognized, but her peers insisted we recognize her, and so did I. So please join me in congratulating Tamara. I'd now like to welcome Maritza Meadows, Assistant Director of Emergency Services.
I'm pleased to present the second Support Services Award to Martina Brennan. Martina is active everywhere, on the state, local, and national level. Her expertise and thoughtful way of leadership is renowned and sought after. Martina meticulously recruits and trains people in health services. She recently became an instructor so she could bring her passion to even more people. I just wanted to mention one thing. Last year I went to a conference in Washington, and as soon as I went to the health services leads, they said, Westchester County? They were like, Martina Brennan? She's great. I'm so proud. I cannot begin to tell you. That's quite impressive. Thank you. And now I would like to ask Susan Rounds, Interim Regional Chief Operations Officer, to present the next award.
What can I say about that, Mary? As a former chairman of the board, I've following my time in Westchester,
Westchester, I was a frequent guest of the chapters in a new regional role, and I offered many board orientations to new board members in Westchester County. And I would always start with, please tell me about yourselves, but tell me why you're here. And I heard, I'm a friend of Ed's. I'm Ed's neighbor. I'm a business associate of Ed's. Leaders were all joining our mission in our family because Ed asked me, and he told me how important the Red Cross was to the Westchester community. Please join me in honoring Ed as your exceptional volunteer. It is now my pleasure to introduce Cesar Rivera, your Director of Response, to give the next award.
Most of you in this room know Ken Creary, the recipient of this year's Disaster Planning and Leadership Award. Ken, it's your turn. Inspired by the impact of volunteers during the relief of Hurricane Katrina, Ken sought additional ways to help. One of his peers said, "How can you say no to Ken?" Ken represents the Red Cross as part of the Westchester Emergency Operations Center and also plays an important part of the new volunteer management on-call. And if that wasn't enough, Ken also is on the Aviation Disaster Task Force. And Ken has said, let's keep encouraging people to volunteer, because it's the best job you'll never be paid to do. Now I'd like to ask Diane Auger back up for the final award.
As I've traveled through the region, and I have been traveling through the region, I am told stories of volunteers who became role models and inspirations. And I have heard that Gene Malkus is one of those volunteers whose daily presence that you miss. 5 days a week, Gene was in the chapter showing his commitment and his compassion to his community. So today, we are going to present the second annual Gene Malkus Award to Bob Reggio. And then I'm going to ask Liz Clark, who is So you know that Liz Clark is the 2009 Gene Malkus Award recipient. So I've got one on either side. I feel very special. Bob never forgot how the Red Cross helped his family after a fire. And when 9/11 happened, he naturally turned to the Red Cross to help. Bob, your peers say that Bob is someone we often seek out for his wisdom that is tempered with life experience. His role of teacher is not confined to four walls, and he continues to teach and live the mission of the American Red Cross. Bob was once asked what he would say to a potential volunteer, and he replied, "There are few feelings better than the ones you'll have after a response, knowing that you've directly and absolutely helped someone in need. It offers you lifelong satisfaction." Bob, we all think that you are extraordinary, and we congratulate you this morning.
I'm really privileged to have my name associated with that of Gene Malkus. All I really want to say is how proud I have been to be a part of all of the work that we do in the Red Cross. And to my fellow volunteers, how proud I've been and am to be one of you. I'm thankful for the opportunity I've been given, and I'm certainly thankful for the award. Thanks.
I volunteer with the Red Cross. I do it out of my heart, and I feel I get more out than I can actually put in. And it's a tremendous cause, and there's a need for what I do.
I volunteer because what if it was my son or daughter, or my mother or my father that needed help? If it was my family, I'd want somebody to help them. So when there's somebody in need, I just treat them like they're my family.
Yeah, I would always recommend that someone volunteer with the Red Cross because it's the best place to learn to be a volunteer.
and you cannot ever anticipate the kinds of things you're going to do and the people you're going to meet.
If I'm talking to anyone about volunteering for the Red Cross, I would repeat Ken Creary's words. It's the best job you'll ever have that you're not getting paid for.
And though I know volunteering is something generally you feel that you're giving to others, but in the end, you're actually the one who receives so much back. So it's a pleasure to be a volunteer, and I encourage other people to come back to volunteer as well.